it's Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about 5 different ways that you can creatively journal. And since journaling mostly tackles a lot of daily documenting, I wanted to show you guys more of ways that you can utilize certain interests and certain topics that you want to write about and create them inside your journals. I think this will be a great creative exercise also for you, so keep watching to know more. First things first, this video is sponsored by SKILLSHARE. SKILLSHARE is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. Personally, I've been taking a lot of SKILLSHARE classes. You've also seen it in some of my studio vlogs, mostly because I want to further develop certain aspects of my creativity that I feel like I haven't really polished yet. And I also find myself getting interested in a lot of different topics since Skillshare has a variety of classes that will keep you inspired and also help you discover parts of your creativity that you may not have known of. So I will recommend some classes on journaling, especially those that more of lean towards the whole concept of self-discovery, as I feel like these are great classes to take in if you're starting to do journaling or you want to expand your skill set.
So let's start. The first type of journaling that I'm going to show you is more of like a book log. So I started using this journal this year. It's a traveler's notebook size one, and I wanted to log all the books that I've read, and I also added a podcast there. And I find this format very fun and interesting to work with because as someone who hasn't really read books in quite some time, this actually motivated me to write more, read more, and sort of have my own points of view after reading a specific book. I can be so thrown off with the idea of just reading books and then forgetting about it, and with this system I am able to log through this journal all of the books I read this year and maybe some key takeaways that I have for every book. I just briefly wanted to share that I read this book called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb, and it's about therapy, and I am actually diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, and having to read this was very interesting because it drew me into the mind of a therapist and how they also have their own therapists, and basically it's like peeking into a world or peeking into other people's minds. So I kind of like that whole idea, and I really enjoyed that book, although it was quite long and quite heavy to read with, so I had to spend a couple of nights not reading it, and it was on and off. But generally, I'm really fascinated with a lot of non-fiction books, but I think after this period of reading a lot of memoirs and biographies and books like these, I am moving on to more fiction stuff after maybe a few weeks, just so I can reset my brain. But yeah, as I mentioned, this is a great way to log all your ideas because the format is on the upper part. You will see 70% of the page is just dotted, so I stick most of my stickers there and book covers, and at the bottom with the lines, it acts like a bullet list area. So I just write in my thoughts in bullets, the type of genre, when did I finish it, and my personal takeaways and thoughts after reading it. The next type of journaling I wanted to share with you are affirmations journaling. I don't know if that's a thing, but I started to develop it because I have always loved the idea of affirmations. This journal is basically where I do a lot of creative journaling experiments. As you can see, they're kind of not the same theme. But yeah, as I mentioned, I like experimenting with different topics, and affirmations were something I encountered when I was doing a lot of yin yoga, and I thought to myself, if I could have affirmations while doing yoga, then I think it'd be nice to actually write down these affirmations on paper, because affirmations have this positive impact on your day when you keep saying it and having that mindset. And I think affirmations are a great way to instill self-love. As someone like me who's not really a huge fan of self-love, I'm really working on that and loving myself more. I find that affirmations really give you that constant reminder, and it's kind of like a pep talk. So I actually designed these stickers in collaboration with Badass Tote Girl. I will link it down below. But this one was an idea that we really enjoyed because she took photos of sunsets a lot, and I was like, maybe we can like add some quotes there and make it very inspiring. So I got these and I started to letter them, and I just thought of doing an affirmations page because usually this is something that you'd probably see at the start of the year, or maybe you can do it at the start of the month or the start of the week or every day. And I think it's great because affirmations can range in a lot of different ways. I shared briefly on my community page about affirmations for artists. You can also have affirmations for self-love, for self-care, for your daily life, for family, for friends. And I think it's a great way to just, remind yourself what you're capable of and what you want to hear. Oftentimes we are always so negative and self-critical. That's me talking to myself most of the time, and this is such a great way to just remind yourself that you are worth it and you are capable of great things. And I really had fun designing this, obviously, because the color scheme was sort of like bluish pink, and I added some muted greens, and I think it matches so well with the whole aesthetic of the colors of the stickers, which were all like sunsets. And it reminds me also low-key of the Pantone color of the year a couple of years back, like with rose quartz and serenity blue. It has kind of that sort of feel. So I'm just writing out some of my thoughts on the said affirmation, so it's instantly a prompt that you can immediately try. Another journaling idea you can try is actually coffee journaling, or in my case, I'd like to call it a coffee log. So I briefly printed out my photos from coffee shops I went to in Japan and in Germany. Of course, these are some of my favorites. I actually was super OC that I printed it in like 3x3 centimeters just so they print accordingly. And I'm using a field notes pocket notebook, and I find this to be the most efficient journal for this kind of log because it's tiny, you can carry it around. In a perfect world, I'd be traveling and taking this around with me, but for now, I'm just going to log the ones that I've tried previously. And I'm just using minimal stickers. I think I got the numbers one from Loft last year, and this coffee sticker set is from Everyday Explorers. I just found it to be a nice touch. I wanted also this idea to be just a freestyle kind of approach. You can opt to write, I'm not a good coffee connoisseur, so I just literally write like how good the coffee is, or the ambience was, or where was the location, if it was in a good neighborhood. I think that helps you also visualize your whole experience in the coffee shop. For me, tasting coffee is not just about, well, of course it's about the taste, but it's also about who you're with during that time and when did you try it, and was it like a hot summer day, or was it like a really, really cold afternoon and then you just wanted a cup randomly. I've always been a huge fan of coffee everywhere. I mean, I even go as far as drinking coffee from the konbini because they're actually really good, and I also keep a lot of the cups. They're all displayed in my studio. So yeah, I really, really enjoy logging, and it just dawned on me, like, how come I never thought of writing about my favorite coffee shops? And to think that it's one of the things that I always travel for. It's like art, books, or coffee. So it just so happened that's also ABC. But yeah, here are some of the coffee shops I was able to try in Berlin. I also got out some of my coffee shop / coffee themed stationery. I have a lot of them actually, to the point that I also made my own stickers and washi tapes for coffee because I really, really love coffee. And it's such a great experience because experiencing people make coffee is so different. That's something actually I miss now that I've been at home most of the year. As much as I like preparing my own coffee, there is that sort of like different feel when someone makes it for you, and I just miss the smell also of coffee shops and the conversations that you sometimes listen to, or like, that ambient noise that I don't really get as much here at home, and just meeting friends and all. I can go on and on how much I miss coffee shops, but it's always nice to like see all these photos and remind myself of how great it was that I was able to go to these cafes. And most of them also, I would stay alone. I would just like spend the afternoon like brainstorming or meeting friends, and it's always great to reminisce on these moments because it helps you have that full-on coffee experience. I hope to update this furthermore, but so far here are the spreads that I did. The next one is my personal favorite. I call it my art chive. I actually got this idea from the Chronic Diarist. I will link her video down below. She created this commonplace book to log all her art and history finds, and I was like, wait a minute, I have a lot of these things and I kind of want to write them somewhere, and I thought of doing it here. Papa Maroti sent me this really nice ring-bound scrapbook and I had no idea what to do with it. So I was like, maybe I could just gather up all of my notes. I have a lot of notes on the different exhibitions I went to, the museums. I've kept all the maps, the tickets, and I just found this to be a great way to chronicle them in such a way that makes it more interactive. And I like the nice touch of like having to punch the maps and like adding it into the scrapbook because it has that really analog feel. And I do have a selection of really, really great exhibitions that I was so grateful and blessed to be able to visit. Sometimes it was just good timing. Sometimes I really booked a trip going there, but I really am genuinely interested in museums and art history and also the history of countries. I went to a lot of trips early, like a few years ago, like in Europe and Russia and stuff like that. And I always was at the front of, like, right beside the tourist guide when she would talk about history and like political systems and stuff like that. So I always wrote them in my notes. But being the paranoid that I am, you know, what if one day all my notes will be gone? So I was like, okay, probably log them down here and so that I won't forget it. So this is what it looks like. Still a work in progress though. And just wanted to share with you that I actually keep my ephemera in this envelope just so it's more convenient for me to sort out all of my things and add them to my scrapbook. Last but not the least, for all you astrology fans out there, I have found a great way to actually write more about your astrology, apart from the usual writing about your astrology every start of the month, or start of the week, or your daily astrology. So I have these postcards given to me by the Three Little Prince, and what I like about it is it actually has a lot of qualities of different zodiac signs. So I just took out one of the postcards here about I am a Capricorn sun. If it isn't any obvious, I've mentioned this in a lot of my videos, and probably reflects mostly because of my very hardworking / achiever like personality, which I'm sometimes not proud of because I tend to overwork a lot. So this one was a little experiment I did. I actually liked how it turned out. So on the left side, I just stuck that postcard. It's sort of like a guide card because you have their different traits that are reminiscent of a Capricorn, and with that I am explaining and I'm going to write more about the different qualities that I have based on what was written there. So it's more of like how I relate to that certain trait, because you know how sometimes you say, oh, you know, you're this zodiac sign, and then apparently some of the traits don't match well. For me, Capricorn pretty much sums up my whole life, although sometimes I feel like a lot of my choices and my actions are based off of my moon sign and rising sign. My moon sign is a Libra, which means I am very indecisive on a lot of personal decisions, but you know, work-wise, I kind of get everything together, I think. And then I am a Pisces rising, which means that a lot of my inner self is very emotional, which is something that's very ironic compared to being a Capricorn. If you want to know more about all this astrology thing, I am going to link videos down below on my astrology journaling video and also tarot journaling, just so you sort of get this whole context. But generally, I'm very interested in astrology and tarot and all these things. It's mostly like how I get to learn more also about my personality and how I think, and I find this a great tool for that. So yeah, as I mentioned, I realized that a lot of the qualities that Capricorns have, I do have them. Not usually proud of all of them, but next in the next few lines, I'm going to write about my different experiences. Like, for example, you know, being mature for me has always been about, I like a lot of things that are way beyond my years. I'm also friends with people who are generally older than me, so I kind of learn a lot, maybe because I'm also in the eldest in the family. I also like to take charge because I am such a goal-oriented person, and I find that if no one's going to do the work, I'm just going to do the work. That is basically my whole motto in life. And I'm also very deliberate. I recently took the Strengths Finder test. I'll also link it down below if you're curious. And I found that one of my key traits is being deliberate and careful, meaning I just don't go into something like without making sure that I take calculated risks, and I think that's something I'm quite proud of, so I don't commit any more mistakes. And I'm also I'm not bossy, but I just like to take charge. I think that really resonates a lot with my personality and how I view my workflow and my life in general. So this is something you can definitely try because it's a great way to know more about yourself.
That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you more ideas and inspiration to pick up your journal and try something new. Let me know which one is your favorite. Personally, my favorite is the Art and History Commonplace book, and I would love to see your work. Make sure to tag me on Instagram. It's at AbbeyC, or tag our community page where we feature a lot of artists, so it's at alwaysbecreating.art. And if you want to check out more ideas and inspiration, make sure to check the hashtag 2020 Creative Journaling Challenge. I will link all of those down below for you to check out. And last but not the least, SKILLSHARE is offering, for a limited time only, free trial for the SKILLSHARE Premium membership. That's thousands of classes that you can dive right into, not only with journaling, but with business, productivity, and basically honing your creative skills and becoming better in discovering what you're creatively capable of. So make sure to click the link down below, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much again for watching this video. This has been Abby. Bye!